Welcome back to episode 8 of the Raising Type 1 podcast. Today we are joined by a very special guest, Marlee, who many of you may know on social media as Bain T1D. Welcome to the podcast, Marlee.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, we're so excited. Okay, Marlee, for anyone who somehow doesn't know who you are yet, give us a quick little Marlee introduction.
I'm Marlee, and I am a mom to a type 1 diabetic 2-year-old, Bain, and I'm a speech therapist, and that's about it.
I feel like that can't possibly just be it. So what's one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
This is a tough one, because there's not much special about me. Maybe I'm an only child. I feel like that's weird.
So Janelle.
I know.
I feel like when you're an only child,
Us and our only child weirdness.
Like when you're an only child, people don't understand like what an only child is. So that's kind of weird.
How do you think Bain would describe you?
I hope he would describe me as like a good mom or like a fun mom or energetic. I don't know. He would probably say like crazy or something.
Welcome to Raising Type 1, a podcast for parents navigating life with type 1 diabetes.
Honest conversations, shared experiences, and reminders that you don't have to do this alone. So obviously, Bain was diagnosed very young. He was only 12 months old, right, when he was diagnosed? Yeah. So take us back to the week that he was diagnosed and like walk us through what that week looked like for you guys.
So he had just had his first birthday on August the 10th, and then that week, or his birthday was on a Saturday, so that week I would say he was fine. He was like grumpy. He was cutting his first 2 teeth. He was just irritable in that sense. My mother-in-law would keep him at my house, and my husband Chandler worked from home as well, so they would text me and be like, he's grumpy, he's fussy, whatever. So on Thursday of that week, they text me again. Like, it was just constant. They're like, he's fussy, he's just, something's wrong with him. Like, I think he has an ear infection. So I was like, I'll leave work and I'll just, maybe he's tired of y'all. Maybe he just like needs his mom or whatever. Because, you know, that's just how it is. So when I got home, he was fine, happy, energetic. I think he was just glad to see me, honestly. And we took a long nap. And then that afternoon, you could tell he was pulling out his ears. You could just tell he wasn't feeling the best, but he's also a 12-month-old baby, so it's not like you can ask him what's wrong. So we took him to the urgent clinic, and they looked at his ears, and they said he had ear infections. Well, they gave him a Rocephin shot while we were there because the pharmacies were closed. It was like 6 o'clock, so they made us sit there and wait to make sure he didn't have a reaction, and he was nursing, and he just threw up everywhere. Like, it was kind of like random, out of the box kind of thing, and he never had done that before. And then from that point forward, he just didn't stop throwing up, really. Like, we were able to drive home, and he was fine after the one accident at the urgent clinic. And then when we got home, it was just constant. And then that's when he started grabbing the drinks and grabbing my chest, and it was like he was like a drug addict is what it seemed like. Like, he was just reaching, and he's a baby, can't even walk at that point. So we took him to the ER. I'm the type of person that's like, we're not going to the ER unless our limbs are falling off. Like, that's just the type of human I am.
Yeah.
My husband's like, no, we're going to the ER. Something's wrong with him. So we finally go, and we take him in, and they do all the standard swabs for the flu and RSV and whatever else. And the doctor barges in, and he was like, he's got diabetes. Like, just screamed it out there. And I'm like, looking at him like, what? I thought he had like the flu. I thought he had RSV, like things babies have, not.
Yeah.
Why does he have diabetes?
Yeah.
That was kind of traumatic. And the way he did it, like, he just, no bedside manner at all. I remember the nurse that we had, like, literally looked at him, and she was like, that is not how you tell, like, we're all sitting there in a triage room, and she's like, that's not how you tell somebody their baby's in DKA and has diabetes. And I just bawling.
That's
and
crazy.
The stereotypes of, how does a baby get diabetes? He's breastfed, like, just the stuff that bothers me now that people say was
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. But when you don't know,
But
you don't
yeah,
know.
you don't know. And I didn't know any baby that has ever had diabetes. Like, that was a mind-boggling thing to me. And he was healthy. He's only been
Yeah.
sick at that point one time in his life. So it was just so, it felt like so out of the box, truthfully.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And so
but
quickly.
he got diagnosed there, and then that's when we live in a very small college town, and they obviously can't handle a DKA baby that's got diagnosed with diabetes. So we got on a helicopter and we flew 2 hours to our children's hospital.
Gosh. And that just like adds to the trauma,
Yes.
probably. Like having to go through like what I assume is like a life flight helicopter experience.
I remember walking.
Oh my gosh.
My nurse advocated for me to be able to be on the helicopter with them. Thank God. I don't think I could have made it without being on the helicopter with them. And I remember getting in the passenger seat of the helicopter. He's on the gurney and they're putting him in the back with these two men that are taking care of him back there. And the helicopter pilot, obviously he has to tell me the rules of, he's like, don't touch these buttons, don't touch the door, don't try to open the door and jump out. And I'm just like, I can't even breathe. Like I felt, I was looking like,
Yeah.
like we're good. Like I'm not.
I can promise you that.
You don't have to worry about
If
that.
I'm jumping out,
It's the
Bain's
least of
jumping
your
out
worries,
with me.
actually.
It was trauma, and it's still every day. I mean, when I pass that hospital to go to his pediatrician, it's like trauma. I mean,
Yeah.
seeing anybody deal with that, especially your own child, is just horrible.
Yeah. I feel like I've gotten many comments lately on social media about like not making type 1 diabetes as our, as about us as parents. And I understand people's sentiment on that. Like, I know it's not about us. I know it's their disease to live with for their whole lives. But then you hear stories like this, and I know we all have our own diagnosis story, and it is traumatizing. Like, I am sorry, but it is. It's stuff you never forget or erase out of your brain, like, or your body for that matter. Like,
so
that
agree.
lives with you forever.
Because it's like
Yeah.
people don't understand, even though we don't feel what they feel, we don't understand what a low and high blood sugar might feel like. We are the ones that are causing those on our kids for the most part. We're the ones who are taking care of them. We're the ones who saw them lifeless. And Bain was lifeless, and I saw him like that, and I saw what they had to do to him in the hospital, and like, that's traumatizing, and that's something we have to deal with as their parents. It's hard to see your kids hurt and have to be hurt over and over and over.
Yeah. It's horrible. It's a horrible position to be in.
Yeah.
And as a parent, like, the only thing you want in the world is for your kid to be healthy and like want to give that to them. And with this, like,
You don't have a chance.
you kind of can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that moment that they were telling you, hey, your baby has diabetes and he's in DKA, what did severe DKA even mean to you in that moment? Like, did you even know what it was?
Not at all. I just knew that he couldn't keep his eyes open. He couldn't keep his head off his shoulders. He couldn't stop with that labored breathing. And I knew that without medical help, obviously the alternative was going to be horrible. Once we got to the children's hospital, it's a medical facility, so it's a medical teaching hospital, so it's not only just your average doctors, it's everybody. When we got rolled into the triage, I think 100 people ran in the room. I mean, nurses, doctors, caseworkers. It was everybody, and every single person is telling me he has type 1 diabetes, he's in DKA, and I'm just looking at him alone because Chandler couldn't get on the helicopter. It's just me and my baby who's very, very sick, and all these strange doctors telling me what's wrong with him. So, no, I was clueless. I really don't think I understood till the end of the hospital stay, truly.
What do you feel like you remember most about the hospital stay?
I think I remember the most about probably the ICU, and we finally get up there after 12 hours of being in a triage room waiting for a bed, and Bain is lifeless at that point, our life revolved around like routines and breastfeeding. And when we got there is when they started telling me about his labs and things they had to do to correct them. And he couldn't eat, and he couldn't nurse, and he couldn't drink water, and they were going to poke him every single, like the amount of times they poke. I think that's what stands out to me the most, is that they poked him every hour for 3 days straight. And I remember him coming, every finger, every palm of his hand, every toe, his heel. I mean, he was a bloody mess, and it was so heartbreaking. I think that's what stands out the most.
Oh. Ugh, that is so sad. When Wells was in the hospital, he wasn't in DKA or in the ICU at all, but they were still poking his finger, I think every 2 or 3 hours. And he had just turned 3. And so in his mind, these were all like boo-boos. And he wanted a Band-Aid every time they poked his finger. He stayed the whole hospital stay, 10 Band-Aids, like one on every single finger, because he would not let them poke his finger. He would hide under the sheets of the hospital bed. And then he would just stick his hand out like this out of the sheets. And they would put a Band-Aid on after. So it's so sad.
That's so sad and so traumatic.
Yeah. He doesn't remember it, which, like, I think I'm thankful for, because they were all diagnosed so young. I think I'd rather carry the trauma and, like, memories of that than them. But it's also like, oh my God, they were diagnosed so young, they don't even remember.
Yeah, Paxton definitely doesn't have any memories of it either.
Yeah.
Which, once again, blessing in disguise, but also a curse. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a blessing and a curse, yeah.
Yeah. If you could go back to that hospital room today, what would you tell yourself?
I think that your life is not over, because that's what it feels like. And you will be able to learn on your own, and you'll be able to take care of him. Because I remember sitting in that chair just crying, thinking, he's going to die. How are we going to do this? I can't take care of him. Like, I'm not strong enough to take care of him. So I think just knowing that in the end, everything will be okay. Does it suck? Yes. So horribly bad, but you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
All of you.
I love that.
I do also love that. What do you think most people don't understand about DKA in infants specifically?
Probably that it's life or death. Not even just infants, anybody. Like, DKA is life or death when it gets to a certain point. And it needs a lot of medical help, no matter what that is. No matter if it is pokes every hour and all the infusions and whatever else they had to do to get him out of DKA. It's serious, and you have to take it serious.
Yeah. I think people think you, like, go to your doctor and get diagnosed with diabetes. And I'm sure that's the story for some people. But, like, most kids end up in the ICU.
Which is horrible, because I remember being in the ICU, and the nurses, of course, all of them told me, we've never seen a 12-month-old in DKA. We've never experienced type 1 in a little child like this. But they would tell me, we do see kids in DKA being diagnosed with diabetes weekly. Like, this is very common, but it's not usually this age. It's usually 7, 8, 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
So as a parent, that obviously makes you like, why do I have to be the unicorn that has the baby with diabetes? But also, like, there's all these kids getting diagnosed with such a life-changing condition, and it's just heartbreaking and traumatic.
Yeah. So then you go home from the hospital with a brand new 1-year-old with type 1 diabetes. What is it like managing type 1 diabetes in a literal baby?
We left the hospital thinking you treat with 15 carbs and you give him half unit shots for 30 carbs that he's not eating, and that he needs to be in the 200 to 300 range. Like, we left thinking this is how you treat it, and then you quickly realize, once you get your hat on and you suck up the tears and you're like, okay, I'm going to conquer this condition. It's not going to conquer me. So I started doing my own research and joined a Facebook group specifically for little babies and kids with diabetes. And I just read, looked up keywords. I mean, that's what my life consisted of. And then we were shooting up. I mean, I felt like when we were doing MDI, we were carving him up to give him insulin. Mm-hmm. It was always roller coaster, always up or always down, mostly up. And it was just a learning curve. Learning the breastfeeding part of it and learning how to give a shot. I mean, I was scared of shots before this. Like, I was the kind of person that would, like, have tears in my eyes if they had to give me a shot.
Yeah.
And now I'm giving my infant 10 shots a day.
Yeah.
So.
Of medication that can kill you.
Yeah. And then I'm so clueless about.
Yeah.
I mean, in the hospital, they taught us how to draw insulin. Like, they taught us the dosage wrong. So his long-acting insulin, he was supposed to be getting like 1 unit a day or something like that. And they were supposed to give us half-unit syringes, and they gave us whole-unit syringes or something. I don't know. It was something like that. But I remember we went back to our 5-day appointment after he got out, and our endo was like, oh my gosh, they taught y'all how to draw up the insulin wrong. Y'all been like overdosing him with Lantus, but it's been working, so
oh my
whatever.
Gosh.
Hey, huge mistake, but like, whatever.
And I feel like that was so on point with our whole hospital experience because nobody had seen a kid that small in DKA. Yeah. Like, they were truly learning with us.
Very like standardized way of like, this is kind of X, Y, and Z, what we go down and how we teach people. So they probably didn't know how to adjust that for this tiny kid because they like you said had never seen it before.
Yeah, I wish diabetes education would transition away from that standard just plan of care and teaching parents how to care. Like, what they taught us was like for 15 and 16 and 17-year-old kids or adults. It's not even for y'all's age of kids. Like, nobody should be doing this with their kid. Why are you telling me about this for a 12-month-old baby who still breastfeeds?
I think all the education that most young kids leave the hospital with ends up being incorrect. Like, we didn't even leave the hospital with a carb ratio. We left the hospital with no matter what he eats, give him this much insulin and don't give him any more for 4 to 5 more hours, no matter what. Yeah.
That is wild. Yeah. And see, that is wild. And I have people reach out to me and they're like, what is his carb ratio? We were taught to never let our kid go under 90 and we were taught to only do this. And I'm like, just because you're taught that does not mean that's what you're forced to do. They're there to guide you, but they don't make the decisions. They don't live this life. So if you think that your kid can be in the 80s and that's fine, then let them be in the 80s. They're going to be fine.
I think they try to like compensate for potentially incompetent parents. And I don't mean that in an ugly way, but I think they have to say, okay, we're going to give this blanket standardized advice so that if somebody is not capable of making in real time decisions on what is safe and what's not, we can at least say we're not going to be held liable for this, child dying because they've given too much insulin or whatever. And so they have this one standardized blanket of this is how it's done. And then the blood is off of their hands in a sense. As sad as that is.
Yep, I agree. It's horrible.
If you had to narrow it down to one thing, what do you think the hardest part of that first year post-diagnosis was?
Maybe, I think all the changes we went through. I mean, when he got diagnosed, he had 2 teeth. He wasn't walking. He was really nursing more, and food was kind of the secondary type of food, but as we go through the year, obviously he's changing. He starts walking, he gets all his teeth, he starts eating food and not breastfeeding, and the changes you go through from those ages, like he was a baby and now he's a full human that's running around telling me what to do. It just, adults don't have that much change in their life. Their insulin might stay the same for 5 years. When we're seeing our kids grow overnight, it a lot of change comes with that, and a lot of insulin changes and dosage changes and everything. So I think that was
Yeah,
like
I
the
think
hardest
that's something
part.
honestly that we still struggle with. And I think that a lot of like adult T1Ds that maybe weren't diagnosed as a kid don't understand is that like these kids literally change so much that like sometimes we have literal insulin change like day to day. It's like, oh, okay, well
Yeah.
this basal rate worked great yesterday, but today, no, not so much. So let's figure out how we can fix that.
Yep.
And it's like it's exhausting.
Yeah, and kids change, they just change so much. They hit a different milestone. Like the second he had a tooth coming in, he was insulin resistant, like he had the flu. And there's things that happen in kids that just don't happen for other people that are older that aren't going through those things. Obviously, they go through things that our kids don't go through yet, but I feel like the variables are so different with smaller kids, and that causes so many more issues, in my opinion, that we have
And
to
I think
deal
on
with.
top of that too, little kids tend to be so much more insulin sensitive. So I at least feel like, because Wells is still very insulin sensitive, there's less room for error when you're using such a small amount of insulin. The difference between zero point 0.2 of a unit and 0.35 of a unit is massive when you're dealing with kids that are so small and so insulin sensitive. So not only are they having these constant frequent changes, but there's also not like a large margin of room for error. Like if you mess it up even just a tiny fraction of a bit, you've got a big problem on your hands.
And that's where it starts falling on our shoulders, where you feel like a bad parent because you thought he needed zero point 0.3 for this snack and he really didn't, and now he has a low blood sugar because of your decisions. And that's tough because you just caused harm on your kid, you just caused danger on your kid, and that's tough as a parent. But you're trying your, it's just, it's a circle, like you're trying your best, and yet it never
Yeah.
is enough,
It's a
honestly.
constant like mind game of trying to ground yourself in the fact that you're making the best decision you can with the knowledge you have available, but also knowing that's going to work maybe 50% of the time. And the other 50% of the time, like you said, like it might not be good enough. And it's not your fault. You're not doing it on purpose, but it's hard not to take it personally because you are the one that made that decision. Do you feel like you had any period of grieving or anything specific that you grieved, especially during the first year after diagnosis?
For sure. The first month when we got home, I couldn't do any of his like shots or injections. Like Chandler fully did it, and the emotional side of it really took a toll on me, and it was in my head. I couldn't believe I was giving my little baby shots all the time, and yet I'm nursing him and I'm breastfeeding him, and then I have to give him a shot right after so he doesn't spike, and I'm helping him learn and explore foods, and then I'm having to give him, like, I just felt like I was hurting him. So I grieved a lot of that. And then obviously, as a young kid, we're going to a lot of firsts. A lot of my friends are having kids and young kids, and we are going to birthday parties, and I'm seeing other kids run around and they just eat some cupcakes or eat candy or just eat some pizza, and you just feel it, you feel left out, you feel hurt, you feel betrayed in a way that this is what your kid's life and future looks like. So I think I still grieve
Yeah.
that, honestly.
I feel that way sometimes. Like if we're at a big like social event, a party, or like a family gathering with a lot of people, or, you know, honestly, like the movie theater, like anything like that, it almost feels like you're on the outside looking in sometimes, because I think it's just so easy to naturally feel like isolated in a way in those situations where you know you're doing something and have this mental load in your head that nobody else in the room has.
Okay, so I know you mentioned that Chandler was kind of the one that took over all of like the shots and everything at the beginning, but like overall, how do you think your relationship and marriage kind of handled that season post diagnosis?
I feel like type 1 takes a toll on relationships. And from my experience, having a small one with type 1. Like, daycares wouldn't take him. And then my trust comes into play. Like, I love my mom to death, and I know she could take care of him. I don't trust her to take care of him. I don't trust Chandler's mom to take care of him. I just cannot handle that. And it's probably a problem within myself that I need therapy for. And I think as he gets older, maybe it'll be easier. But right now, that's just the stage of life we're in, where if one of us don't have him, guess what? Like,
yeah,
that's just how it's got to be
especially
right
with
now.
him being so small. And like, I'm sure there's, obviously, like a lack of being able to communicate any problems. Even like Wells doesn't feel highs or lows, but I can imagine that's only amplified with a 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's my main motivation, is like, I want him to be able to understand the basics and be able to advocate for himself. Not necessarily say, like, I know my blood sugar's low, but I need him to understand, if you hear your Dexcom beeping, try to take that upon yourself. You can't trust everyone around you is going to realize that. Even they might have your best interests at heart, but mistakes are made. I mean, even as a parent, we make mistakes. So somebody that doesn't live this life day to day, it's just so scary and something I just can't handle right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all.
Me either. I don't leave Wells.
She leaves him with me.
I do. Yeah, like literally. And thank God.
We're just gonna fly out
like
when you need a babysitter. It's fine. We'll both come.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's a 2-person job.
Okay, so what has toddler type 1 diabetes taught you that you didn't expect?
That I am setting him up for his long-term life with this. So he obviously will never remember a day that he doesn't have this condition. He'll never remember what it was like to live without type 1. So I think that it's important for me to communicate that with him and to teach him how to advocate for himself and teach him how to be a part of a team that takes care of his needs. So being a toddler, I think it's important that he does those things. And I think that's why he handles things the way he does, is because from the beginning, I've always had him as a participant of the team, not just sit here while I do this stuff to you. It's more like, hey, we have to do this stuff because this is what keeps you healthy. This is what keeps you alive. I know it's not fun. I know it hurts. I'm honest with him, but I want him to know for his future's sake, and so that he knows when he's 16 that this is important. Even though he'll go through phases of burnout and whoever knows, he could go through other things. I want him to know that it's important, and I'm trying to instill that in him as a toddler in general.
I think we just talked about on an episode, it may have been last night's episode, or maybe the one before that. We were talking about how parenting with type 1 diabetes, you have like 2 additional parenting layers on top of it. You have, first of all, your regular parenting. You still have to raise this child to be a member of society, like a functioning a good human, a good functioning member of society, have manners, like the basic things. You also now have to manage their life-altering disease. So you have like the management side of things on top of your regular parenting. And then you also have to parent them and teach them about their disease too, because it's theirs that they're going to live with forever. So you have like these added layers that it's so much extra thought and effort on top of just normal parenting stuff that I don't think people even see.
Exactly. Like, I'm teaching him how to be a good friend and a good child and a good student. Like, I'm trying to teach him to be an advocator, but I'm also trying to teach him why he has diabetes and why do we have to get shots and why do we have to carry around all these 500 things of supplies everywhere we go. Like, he has to understand so that he thinks it's important in his life. Because one day, like you said, they're going to They're going to manage this, not us. And if we set them up for success, hopefully they will be successful.
The weight of their like viewpoint on type 1 diabetes is kind of in our hands to an extent of like, no, we can't control how they'll inevitably feel about it one day. And like you said, I'm sure they'll have their phases of burnout and being frustrated with the disease like we all do. But setting them up for success the best we can, like that's an additional weight on our shoulders as parents.
Yep. And that's where I feel like the positivity has to come into play. I feel like I try my best not to be negative about it in front of him or around him. I never want him to feel like a burden or him to feel like he did something wrong. So I try to always be positive. I might go cry in the closet by myself, which I do, you know what I mean? But he's not going to see me crying unless it was just like a horrible, horrible situation. Like, he's never going to know how I feel about type 1. And he loves to see kids online doing their site changes and watching Paxton and Wells and watching Miles and Double. Like, he loves that. And I just think it's so important to just show him positive stuff so that he knows, you know, that I don't want him to be scared of it.
And I think that's easy to kind of like fall into that hole in social media too, because there are a lot of like people sharing, and I'm not saying there isn't space for like negative feelings or like bad experiences or whatnot. Like, absolutely, like, please, you know what I mean? Share what you need to share. But like, as parents, that's kind of where we need to step in and kind of be selective with what we choose to expose our kids to when this is going to frame their entire mindset around diabetes as they grow up.
Yeah.
I so agree. Because I get not only comments for myself, I see other people comment. I've gotten asked it and other things, but it's like, what do you think Bain will think about this when he's 18? People like to say that. Like, and I've seen comments on other people's videos, like, what are these kids going to think about when they're teenagers and they see their moms told everything about their history? And it's like, I am very intentional and respectful of what I feel like I post of Bain. I would never put him in a situation where I'm using him for clicks or views. Yeah. Like, that's just not me or who the person I want to be. And I never want to betray him that way, because this is his disease and this is something he has to live with forever.
You do an amazing job with being so selective in what you post, and it's educational, but it's also respective of Bain and his disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think all of us, like, I feel like we all do that, and our kids are joining in on that type of stuff. Part of the
but
team.
I think honestly
us.
That's a great segue into my next question, because this past year, y'all decided to start kind of sharing your lives on social media. So when exactly did you decide to start sharing online, and did you expect it to grow to what it is right now?
So I never expected to share my life online. I have always been a person who loves doom scrolling and just sending stupid videos to my friends. And I've always been on TikTok, like sending video. Like, that's just me. I didn't have a video on there that I've posted, but I would love to watch and share and whatever. So Bain was like 15 or 16 months old. And obviously, before he was diagnosed, I worked in a clinic and I was a speech therapist. Obviously, he got diagnosed. I never went back because daycares wouldn't take him, whatever. So I took a video of me putting on a Dexcom on him just to show my friends. I had like 30 followers. They were all my friends from college or high school. And I was like, I want to show them, like, this is why I don't work anymore. This is what I do. This is what my day-to-day life is. Like, I'm strapping a G7 on my 15-month-old baby. Like, so I posted it to TikTok, and immediately I had my notifications on. Immediately, I guess it hits the viral For You page, like comments and likes and question. I mean, it was just like people had never seen a baby with a CGM and a baby that had diabetes. And I started reading the questions, and it was like, how do babies get diabetes? Did he get diabetes because you fed him junk? Did he have diabetes because you had gestational diabetes? Like, it was just, all these questions, and I was like, oh no, like,
what can of worms have I just opened?
What did I get myself into? So I kind of like started getting snappy with people. I would like answer answer the question, whatever, with the video, and I'd be like, no, he did not get this because he was breastfed. He'd never even had food before. I did not have gestational diabetes. Like I was, like I was being snappy with him, and then the lack of education and the lack of awareness these people had, like, put a fire under me to say, okay, well, if he can get these people viewing these videos, guess what? I'm about to teach y'all what this is.
I love
it.
I know.
Kept rolling with it.
I also love to see the people mad.
I love to see Marlee show up in a comment section. I'm just going to say that. Like, I live to see Marlee's replies to comments.
I just cannot, like, the trolls, they do something to me. I'm quick about blocking somebody. Like, I put my 800 people.
I block so quick.
Maybe 900. I will block you. If you say anything, I will block you in a second.
Do you feel a responsibility having the platform you have to, like, educate properly or to, like, hold yourself to a certain standard?
I feel like holding myself to a certain standard is more for me and for Bain and just the type of person I am in a way. Like, I'm a very type A perfectionist type person, and I would love to portray that to the world, obviously. But I've never been one to, like, go to the internet with my problems. I'll always kind of be internal with that type of stuff. And I feel like just bringing awareness, it's not necessarily for the platform. Obviously, I use that to my advantage to bring awareness, but it's more for Bain and for his future. And so that he knows if he goes to the store or if he goes to school, like, people have his back and they're not clueless about type 1 diabetes. Like, I would love for everyone to kind of understand the basic knowledge about it. That's, in the end, that's what I would love.
If people know how to help him, if there's an emergency, if he's an adult and he's by himself in a grocery store and he goes low and he's unconscious, God forbid, somebody's not going to come pull an insulin pen out of his bag and inject him with insulin. They're going to recognize, like, hey, this person has maybe diabetes. Like, let's think through this, or I know what to do because I've been exposed to it before.
Yep. I saw something online the other day about a little girl at school, and her mom was getting her Dexcom readings from her phone at work, and it was in the 50s and it was dropping, and she hadn't heard from the nurse, and she finally was like, I'm calling the nurse. I haven't heard from her. And the nurse was like, I've been busy. She knows when her Dexcom goes off what she's supposed to do. And she's like, she's 7. And that's where it's like, if you can't even trust the people who are supposed to be trusted in those situations, then you can't trust anybody. And that's why it's so scary. And that's why I try to get online and teach these people and show them what our day-to-day life looks like, because it is and it so can change serious. In a flash. Like, I mean, it is their life in your hand.
You know, they're fine one minute and then the next minute they're not, and you better make a decision fast.
Yep.
All right, so I know most of the time when it comes to, like, we were talking about, like, the uneducated and, like, negative comments and just, like, the trolls. I know it's really easy most of the time to just, like, laugh about it. But, like, how do you, like, protect your peace around kind of having to read through these comments and some people that are literally just there to, like, spread hate? Like, do you ever let it get to you?
Filtered words when they don't show up is really my tried and true. It used to bother me way more in the beginning, when I was more emotional about his diagnosis and it was new, and I'm more protective of it. I'm not saying that I'm not protective of it now. If it happens in person, I feel like it bothers me more than online now. And the filtered words are like fat, chubby, gestational diabetes.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
Those types of words. They would say, like, somebody asked me one time, is he considered overweight? Because he looks overweight. And have you ever seen an overweight 1-year-old with type 2 diabetes? Because I've never. Maybe there's one in the world, but I don't know of one. Like, that's what bothers me, is those stereotypes that he got it because he ate junk and he's chubby and doesn't take care of himself. I'm like, he was 12 months old.
People
he didn't
be
have a chance to do anything.
And people like that, I feel like they don't want to learn. So
people just don't get it.
So some people may or may not know this. You guys are in the middle of getting a service dog for Bain from MD Dogs, which is obviously the program very close to Janelle and I's hearts, because Ducky is from MD Dogs and Janelle and Paxton are also on the MD Dogs wait list with you guys. So what made y'all decide to pursue a service dog for Bain?
So in the beginning, when he got diagnosed, obviously people were like, you should get a service dog. So I start looking into it and it's very overwhelming. You start seeing the prices. You're like, how am I going to raise? I don't have $25,000 to put on a dog, and there's no one around us that trains, and there's all these companies online and they're all far away. Like, it's very overwhelming. There's no like step by step, this is what you do to get a dog. So I kind of gave up. And then after we started social media, people would constantly ask, can you get him a dog? He needs a diabetic alert dog. We would love to help you fundraise a diabetic alert dog. And I always was like, I'm not ready yet because I'm still learning how to take care of a toddler. I'm still learning how to handle diabetes. I don't even have an understanding of it at this point. And then as I started getting more routine and more confident in diabetes and him and being able to feel like our new normal was normal to us. And obviously I had seen Double and Miles online, and I had talked to Ashley about Double, and she really gave me the courage to try for it. She's like all in, like, yes, get it. It will be the best thing in your life. So I scheduled an appointment with Libby, and I talked with her, and she told me all the reasons why I shouldn't want one. Like that you don't want one. This is what they do. They're crazy. They're hyper. You have to train them all the time. They're expensive. Like, she basically was like, I'm going to tell you every reason. And if you really want one after all these, then maybe you truly want one. So I sat in the meeting and she told me, and then I remember after the meeting, I was talking to Chandler about it. Like, this is what we have to do. This is how much money we have to raise. Like, obviously it's a lot, but it felt like something I needed to do for him. And not only to keep him safe, but to have somebody around him that in a way understands him that I can't, even though, I mean, it's an animal, I know, but it's just different. Like, I want him to have somebody that's his friend and his pal and somebody that would grow up with him, because that's what the dog would do. I mean, he's a kid just like that dog would be. So we did a GoFundMe online, and thanks to our following, we got the money in a week. And I mean, we got on the list, in June, the end of June, I think, is when we got on the list.
Yeah. Like you were saying, the bond between the kid and the diabetic alert dog. Like, Ducky gives Wells something that I cannot. It's a different level of understanding than I can provide. I can't sense his chemical changes in his body. And Wells will literally, it was Ducky's birthday this week, and we went to pick him out some like treats and toys at this like small like mom and pop little pet shop near us. And we were checking out, and the lady wasn't really that talkative, and Wells all of a sudden out of nowhere goes, "It's Ducky's birthday. Ducky is my service dog, and he smells my blood sugars and keeps me safe." And he's just getting to an age, especially now, where he, I think, realizes what Ducky does for him and like what that means for him. And to be able to watch their relationship grow, Ducky's been with us for a year now, is beautiful. And it has been worth every penny, every moment of training, like all the transition training, all of that, because truly, like, Ducky gives him something that I can't, and they will grow up together, and it's just such a beautiful thing to watch flourish.
And I think a lot of people don't realize what goes into them, because I didn't realize it. Like, when I talked to Ashley, she would tell me what all she has to do to keep him trained and actively smelling those blood sugars, and it's really a time commitment to take on a diabetic alert dog. Like, it truly is. But everyone I know that has one that they're like, no matter how hard it is worth every single moment of hardness and financial burden.
Yeah, we rely on a Dexcom, an insulin pump, a glucometer. Ducky's just part of that, team of tools. And obviously he's more because we love him. But like, from a diabetic standpoint, he is the one thing that never falters. He's not ever wrong. And I know, like, we don't like to make those promises, but I'm just telling you our personal experience. If he's alerting somebody in our house is having a blood sugar issue, and I think my husband said one time, the only thing in the house we can trust is the dog. And we laughed, but it's true. Like, that is genuinely, and the peace that brings as a parent it's priceless. It is. It's so worth it.
And that's a testament to Libby and MD Dogs, because a lot of people don't have that experience. And that's the reason that I told Libby in the meeting, like, if we're going to get one, we're going to get one through you. And if you're not interested in doing one for Bain, like, we're not getting one, or we'll wait as long as we need to.
Once I interviewed with Libby, I was like, I can't even think about using these other programs. Now, I'm sure they're great. I'm sure they're fine, but she is certainly the gold standard in comparison. And I said the same thing to her, like, I'm not interested in going with these other programs. She even was like encouraging me to, because she was like, I don't know how long it will be. So if you want one in this like set timeline, like, don't use me. And I was like, no, we'll wait however long we need to wait.
So you already touched on a little bit of kind of like what you think getting a service dog will kind of change for Bain's life, but what do you think it will specifically change about yours?
I think and I hope it changes my relationship with diabetes in a way, and not feeling so reliant on technology that often fails. 99% of the time it seems to be failing, to be honest. So I hope that the service dog will give me a piece of comfort and just trust that I don't have with technology. And I feel like we need that as parents, because especially for Bain's age, like, I rely on technology 24/7.
Yeah. So obviously the three of us know each other from the type 1 community, and I think we're all pretty involved in different groups and social media, and there's a lot of friendship and support and community that comes with that. So what has having other type 1 moms changed for you in your life?
Everything. I have the best of friends locally that are always there for me, that will check in with me, but they don't understand what it's like to shove applesauce in your child's mouth at 3 a.m. or what it's like carrying a bag full of diabetes supplies to Disney World. Like, they don't understand that. So having parents to talk to and friends like y'all to be like, oh my God, guess what I was doing all night? I was fighting low blood sugar. And it's just a different type of comfort and peace. It's something that I never knew I needed until I had, truly. And I think that's one of the reasons why I kept posting on social media, is because it connected me to more and more and more and more moms. And I needed that when I was in those shoes. When he got diagnosed, I needed somebody that understood, and I didn't have anybody. So I try to be helpful to other moms.
There's tissues over there.
It's such an isolating thing.
Oh, good Lord.
I feel the exact same way as you, and it is truly the most isolated I have ever felt in my life, is walking a type 1 diagnosis. And you go from having these friends that you've known for a long time, or, your mom that you're like close to, or, your sisters or whatever, your spouse even, that you feel like these people really know you because they've known you for so long. They know you. And then they don't understand this new part of you. And it's just you walking these waters on your own, something you've never navigated before. And it's really isolating too, to like try to go to those people for support, and they don't even have like a basic understanding of what you're talking about. And so then it's just like reinforcement that they don't understand this new part of you. And it is the worst feeling in the world as a human to be like, oh my God, nobody gets it. And having having friends and community, and like you said, people that we can go to text at midnight and be like, guess what I'm up dealing with, like that truly understand. I totally agree with you.
I'm just over here sucking my tears back up into my eyeballs.
Having friends that
I mean, honestly, like it's dumb, but it's like the joy that I get, like just from like texting our group chat every day, it's like a part of my day that I genuinely look forward to, because it's like I can show up and be just like genuinely myself, and I know that there will be zero judgment, like, you know what I mean, just only support, only love. And it's just, I love that I have finally found that.
Yeah.
I think it connects you on a whole different level, like the understanding you have with each other. Even though I've known y'all for what, 6 months, 8 months, like, but yet I can talk to y'all about anything, because you feel like you're the same person in a way. You feel like they fight this battle just like me, and they understand that me and my husband can't go on a date, because guess what? They can't go out on a date with their husband. Like, like it's just, it's such an emotional, traumatic experience that you're going through with your family, with your friends, and you need somebody.
What do you think you would tell a mom whose baby was just diagnosed today?
I would tell them it gets better. Not necessarily better. It gets more routine. That's what I tell them. It doesn't get better. It gets more routine. You will find your place. You need to get organized. You need to do your own research. You need to listen to the Juicebox podcast. You need to join Facebook group. Like, I have a whole spiel that I tell parents. And I tell them, you know, it feels like the end of the world, because it kind of is at that point. But eventually, I never thought where I am today that I would be where I am when he got diagnosed. Like, I thought I was going to be a hermit crab that never did anything, that just watched his blood sugar and cried every single day. Like, that's what I thought my life was going to end up. Like, it wasn't my life anymore. It was me managing my child's chronic condition for the rest of my life. So that's what I want parents to know, that it's the end of the world, and you should cry it out. Like, the trenches are the trenches for a reason. Cry it out, be mad, but eventually you just have to kind of put your big girl panties on and say, hey, diabetes ain't gonna run my life. Like, we're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna set up, but we're just gonna keep on going. And it gives you such a new perspective on life, and it changes. There's so much negative about diabetes, but
that's so true.
I wouldn't be the person I am without that in my life.
If Bain listens to this when he's 18, what do you want him to hear?
I want him to know that he is so brave, and he has taught me so much. I'm going to start crying. He's so brave, and he's taught me so much about myself, and so much about him, and that I hope he knows how proud of him I am, because he blows me away every day. And it's just it's such an experience seeing your kid go through something so serious and so mentally draining and physically draining, and to see him do it with a smile, and he's excited to participate, and he wants to help. And I just want him to know that he's so amazing, and that he's touched so many people, and he's helped so many people feel brave and feel confident, and I'm proud of him.
Oh, I love it.
I love that so much, but I also want to take a second and just say that the reason that he does that every day is because of how much love you've poured into him, and I just want to tell you how much I admire you and how much I love you.
Just gonna say
we
the
have
same
the
thing.
Same brain cell, girl. You are someone that I genuinely look up to and admire, and it's just I just want you to know that you are doing an amazing job as well, and you are strong and you are brave.
Thank you. I definitely don't feel strong or brave, and I feel like I have to put on a fake face for him, but I never want him to feel like a burden or like no one around him understands what he's going through. So it's important for me to try to be brave for him. I was telling him today on the way home from town, we're going to be brave like Bain. And he kept saying, yeah, we're brave like Bain. And it's such a personality that I want to instill in him. Like, it's okay that you're scared sometimes, or that it hurts you, or that you don't want to do it, because I promise you don't want to do it either. But you're so brave. No matter if you do cry, guess what? You're still brave. You're still doing things that other kids your age are not doing, and you do it with a smile on your face.
Today's conversation with Marlee reminds us how life can change in a moment and how strong parents become when they have no choice but to be. Bain was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at just 12 months old, and from that moment on, Marlee stepped into a world no one else is ever prepared for.
Her story is one of fear, resilience, advocacy, and fierce love. If you're listening and walking a similar road, please know you're never alone. Thank you, Marlee, for trusting us with your story, and thank you for being here and listening.